Why, hello there, it's young Buffett here. I'm just going to go over my weekly trades here. It is now Sunday the 21st. Market's going to be opening up here in about an hour, so I'm going to go through and take a look at my weekly trades using my main system, not my MicroStrategy system. So I'm using the standard candlestick system on the 1 week chart. Alright, so we're going to start off with the Australian dollar Canadian. I just cleared all of my old pivot points and drawing my new ones. So as we can see, there's a lot of change since last week. This is continuing to have downward pressure, even the trend is downward. As you can see, my S1 is actually finally within the Bollinger Bands again, so I'm going to actually start a trade in this, or initiate a order rather, not a trade, in this pair for this week. So I'm going to split the difference between my lower Bollinger Band and my S2 position, which is about right here. I'll set a limit entry order here. Alright, we're going to take, see I'm looking for small movements. This one I'm only looking for a 7 pip bounce, which would equate to a $3 raise. If you haven't been following me, you know that I'm in the process of process of growing $100 to $100 million in 7 years. So we are about a half a month in, and we're actually already ahead of schedule. So this $3 here will be about 2.7% gain on the account. All right, so we're gonna submit that order there, and we're gonna move on to the Audi CHF. I'm actually already in this with my MicroStrategy, but I'm going to be placing a regular order as well, maybe. Actually, no, I'm going to be staying out with my main strategy. Both S1 and S2 are below that lower Bollinger Band, so we are staying out of that as well, or again for another week. So, alright, we're moving on to the Audi US dollar. We're going to clear our old pivot points and draw our new ones. Alright, we are going to be right on the verge. I guarantee we're going to be bouncing into this very quickly. Alright, so here's S2, here's the bottom of the Bollinger Band. We're going to split this very small difference and enter a limit order here for a buy. Alright, and we are going to go ahead and enter that order there and move on. Alright, again, this is one that I'm in with my MicroStrategy right now. It's very close actually to taking its profit, but anyway, point is we still have an upward trend in this, so we're going to go ahead and draw our pivot points. This one I'm going to stay out of the limit buy order, simply because S1 and S2 are outside my Bollinger Band. Even though this is very small, I have to stick to the system. So this is a perfect lineup for me, so I'm going to go ahead and enter my limit sell order there. Alright, 5,000 units. Very small 6.5 pip bounce will give us a $3.30 profit, which is again about 2.8% on the account. Alright, so moving on to our next one, we're going to look at the Euro Pound. I'm in this one as well with my MicroStrategy system. This one's looking very well on the sell and buy side, so I'm going to go ahead and enter a limit buy order here, and we're going to drop this to 3,000 units. These are more expensive pairs to trade just because of the price of these on the market compared to the US dollar, which is what my trading is based off of the US dollar. So, alright, and we're going to change that to 3,000 units as well. Okay, so moving on to our next pair, the Euro US dollar. It's been staying steady now for about 3 weeks after a rapid decline due to the Euro debt crisis. We're going to draw our points. Now, normally I would split the difference with these two, but we're going to zoom out real quick, and I'm going to show you, we're going to go back to the beginning of Oanda, and we're just going to draw a horizontal line here. Its lowest point ever on record that it stayed at for a week was right here. So, with that being said, we're going to zoom back in here. So, I highly doubt it's going to drop all the way, it's going to drop below this. However, I don't want to risk it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove that. Sorry, let me first look exactly where it's at. So 2113. So now we're going to go ahead and remove this, and that's where we're actually going to draw our line, and we're just going to do a limit buy. We're going to change the sorry, we're going to do a limit buy. We're going to change the limit to 21133 like we saw when we drew our line. Change to 3,000 units, which will still give us a hang on, we have to readjust the pips though. That's what, right. 6 pip bounce will give us a $1.80 gain. Alright. Alright, moving on now to the Euro Canadian. Alright, so the Euro has been falling against most major currencies due to the debt crisis, but it has been semi-recovering, especially there's a lot going on in Canada right now. I don't base my trades off of major like economical indicators, at least not entry trades. I don't. I might check a trade, like if a trade is maybe not going like I expected, and I need to figure if I want to stay in or not. I'll check market indicators at that point. But entry orders, I just use technical indicators because I'm looking for such a small bounce. The economy doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it does, but it also doesn't. So, all right, and here we're actually going to be placing 2 orders. We're going to split our difference here. So here's our top of our Bollinger Band going into the next week, and here is our R2. So we're going to split, put in a limit sell order here. Again, we're going to be looking for a very small movement, only only 11 pips, which is going to be a 2.84. I'm actually going to shrink this even more to 5.5 pips. I'm just looking for a small bounce, especially with everything going on in Europe right now. It's better to be safe than sorry, and that's not that big of a movement to get to that. So, and then here I'm going to split this very small difference with a limit buy order. All right, I'm going to change to 3,000, and I'm going to give this one a little bit more of a bounce because if it drops down, I mean right now we're right here, right in the middle. So if it drops down to here though, it's hitting a low that hasn't been in since back in September. So I definitely feel it would bounce to 6.5 points there. All right, moving on, Euro Japanese Yen. The Japanese Yen made a strong movement against most major pairs, including the U.S. dollar, the Euro, basically everything. It was the I'm sorry, it was losing ground. The yen was doing badly, so it's starting to recover now. This is an order that I stayed out of last week because of pivot points. I'm on the line right now, on the fence. It's teetering. They're basically right on. My R1 and upper Bollinger Band are dead on. So we are going to look at another indicator that I just used a minute ago. And you can see it is at an all-time high. Ever since the WANDA opened, the Euro-Jap has never been this high. So I'm actually going to place my upper Bollinger order right there. That's not 100% to the normal system, but it is within my leniency rules, so I'll go ahead and place that order there. Now again, all of my orders last 2 days, so I'll revisit again on Tuesday night. Those orders will expire on Thursday, and I don't like to have any primary orders placed for Friday because I don't like to hold pairs through the weekend. I actually did. I held 4 trades through this weekend, which kind of washed out. Some gained interest, some lost interest. I didn't want to have to, but one of them was from my primary orders, and the other 3 are from my micro strategies. But those units are 100 to 200 unit orders, so it was kind of a wash over the weekend. But I report my earnings on a weekly basis in my ledger. So last week we gained about 20% on the account. So back to this, we're going to stay out of this pair here. As you can see, here's the upper Bollinger. It's right here. R1 and R2 are above the mark. So moving on, all right, we're going to draw some pivot points here. Okay, so we're going to be placing orders on both sides of this pair. All right, our first place is going to be splitting this difference here with the purchase order, or buy order there. We're going to look for 3,000 units. All right, and here we're going to split this difference here. I first thought was like balancing off of here, but actually I need to be averaging off of this because this right here is the top of my my Bollinger Band. So splitting that difference is actually closer to there. So, like I've said in previous videos, I'm not about to pull out a calculator and figure out the exact split. It would take too much time. When you're talking about a 5 or 6 pip difference, it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, so moving on, we're going to clear off last week's pivot points. We're going to place our new ones. So this pair is looking pretty good. This is the British pound versus the US dollar here. So we got our lower Bollinger here. Our S2 is here. We're going to go ahead and split this difference. Alright, moving on to the next pair here. So we got the New Zealand dollar versus the Canadian dollar, or some people like to call it the Kiwi versus the Canadian here. So this pair, I love trading at the Kiwi. It's cheap, which is always nice. You can buy more units for less margin, and it usually stays pretty good in its Bollinger Band. Now, I mean, obviously you can still get screwed. Bollinger Bands are technically a indicator of what's happened in the past. So if I were to say back here in March, I decided to sell here. I was like, oh, bounced off the Bollinger Band. I would have done well. I could have rode this all the way until here's where it would have touched the next Bollinger Band and sold if I played the long Bollinger Band trade. But also, you can't get screwed off of this. So that's why I like to look for the small bounces. So here we're lining up perfectly. We're going to set up a limit buy here. Only a 6.5 pip bounce will give us $2.80. It's about a 2.5 to 2.6% account gain, and we're going to set up a sell here too. We're trading both ways on the Kiwi Canadian here. All right, Kiwi the U.S. dollar. Again, the Kiwi is the New Zealand dollar, and we're looking at it against the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar has been extremely strong, as we all know. That's going to be changing in the 2015 when the Fed increases interest rates. So that is one of the economic indicators that I am definitely following, because that if you trade that right, then you will be making very good gains in 2015 if you trade properly. If you trade improperly, you're going to lose a lot of money in 2015 off the U.S. dollar. So again, keep an eye out on the Fed. Alright, so there's a small buy order here. If you were to look at this off of my main strategy, you would see, hey, that's terrible. Why did I put a buy order in there for the U.S. Canadian dollar? Actually, though, but if you look at the 15-minute, or what did I trade this off of? I'm sorry, I think I traded this one off the hour chart. Yeah, so there was an upward trend that had started. You can see this is actually a really small movement, but this one is, I think it's doing pretty well. I'm still expecting it to bounce. I'm looking for a 2-pip bounce there, so I mean, I'm not too worried about it. So back to my main trading strategy. There's only 2 minutes of video left here. We're going to go ahead and draw our pivot points. We're pushing our limits here. We're right on the line. I'm going to go ahead and use my judgment and split the difference still. Limit sell. All right, 5,000 units, and we're good to go. Alright, moving on, USD, CHF. We're going to draw our pivot points here. This is what I like to see. I can do a nice split here. This is very simple. Alright, see, on my micro strategy, I would probably be buying this right now, simply because we are seeing a very strong upward trend. I use the Heikin-Ashi chart for that, so you can see it is up, and even the MACD moving average conversion divergence is last indicator is up, and we are above the average, so we are doing good with that. That is a very good one. I'm going to be actually watching this as soon as the market opens. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. All right. Moving on to our last pair here, the U.S. dollar versus the Japanese yen. We're going to clear off our previous pivot points, draw our new ones. All right, very simple, obvious. We're going to limit sell here, place our order. I have in Oanda, you can set up exactly your standards. So I trade to the 0.005%. That means it automatically sets up my pip movement to a 0.005% movement, which is why the pips are so small. But the bounces are almost guaranteed. No matter, even if something's on a very strong climb, when it hits in 2 strong solids in resistance points or support levels, it bounces a couple pips every time. So that's why I'm confident with that. So that's my week in overview. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think. And that's all. So you guys happy trading, and this is Young Buffett out.